And it looked like the Cleveland Browns locker room is ready to turn on Kevin Stefanski a day before tomorrow's matchup against any coach, man. The biggest fear, I feel like, is your team turning on you in locker room drama. Well, I'm here to tell you, insiders and people that is close to the Cleveland Browns football team is letting it be known that is exactly the case that is boiling and brewing in the Cleveland Browns locker room.
Breaking news out of Cleveland. And no, it's not another episode of Factory of Sadness. This one's spicier. Word is, the Browns' locker room is cooking hotter than a Thanksgiving oven. All because Coach Stefanski might be sitting on a secret about Shedeur Sanders. Yup, the players are allegedly turning on him like Wi-Fi after a storm. Why? Because Shedeur isn't playing. And apparently, that's all it takes for a full-blown locker room soap opera to erupt.
Now there's been an article released about Kevin Stefanski losing the locker room and the veteran players eventually turning their back on the head coach. And we got a lot to unpack. Man, I'm here to tell you, man, the rumor mill is starting to swirl, man. We getting some new information out of Cleveland that the Cleveland Browns veteran players are about to turn their back on Kevin Stefanski. And is he losing control over the locker room? Now, we've seen this whole quarterback situation play out through the draft.
Apparently, the Browns' locker room has decided that chaos is part of the playbook, and Kevin Stefanski is this week's target. And no, this isn't about bad play calling. It's not the defense. It's not even about Deshaun Watson's roller coaster performances. Nope. The drama's got a new lead character, Shedeur Sanders.
Is that the veteran players and a lot of these guys in the locker room want Shedeur Sanders to play. They want Shedeur Sanders not only to play, but to start. They do not want Joe Flacco in there. They do not want Dylan Gabriel above Shedeur. These are players that is on the Cleveland Browns team. Because you want to know why? Because if Shedeur play and Shedeur starts, everybody wins. Everybody make more money because now the interest in the team is hotter than every team in the NFL. Ticket sales go up, merchandise sales go up. Just anything with the Cleveland Browns is going to go up if they make this.
The same Shedeur who hasn't played a single down, yet somehow turned the Browns facility into a reality show audition. It takes a special kind of franchise to spark controversy around a guy who hasn't thrown a pass, taken a hit, or even laced up for a regular season game.
Can you address this sort of persistent narrative that you're trying to sabotage Shedeur Sanders, especially after yesterday and not putting him in for the 2-minute?
Yeah, obviously, I don't concern myself with outside type of things, but I'm committed to his development, just like all of our rookies. So we'll continue to focus on getting our guys better. And that's what we'll stay committed to, and that's what's important.
That's Cleveland in a nutshell. If there's peace, they'll manufacture noise. It's like the city's under contract to deliver one football circus every fall. Other teams argue over blown coverages or missed assignments. The Browns, they're debating a rookie who hasn't even left the sideline.
Shedeur Sanders ended the game. The offensive coordinator must have went to sleep or something. Straight up like that. I don't know what happened, what was going on. Or the receiver coach took over the play calls for the first time in his career. Things changed for the offense when Shedeur Sanders came into that game. All of a sudden, when Shedeur enters the game, the Browns are a pass first team, run second. I sure didn't like the sequence of play calling when Shedeur Sanders entered the game. Pass first, run second. That is never the Cleveland Browns model. And to me, that play calling was done intentionally.
You know a franchise is cursed when the drama centers on a guy who hasn't stepped on the field yet. It's like fighting over the birthday cake before it's even baked, only to realize someone forgot the frosting. And yet, the whispers won't stop. Reports suggest players are questioning whether Stefanski's lost his touch, his nerve, or both. Not because the offense fell apart, not because the defense gave up points, but because Shedeur Sanders is still holding a clipboard. That's the crime. But here's the thing. This isn't about film study, playbooks, or years of coaching philosophy. In a restless locker room, patience looks like stubbornness, and stubbornness becomes fuel for frustration. A rookie with swagger walks in, carries himself like he's built for stardom, and suddenly the veterans start thinking he might be the answer they've been waiting for.
Is letting it be known Shedeur ain't sniffing that first team. We should have known that was the way they was gonna keep it when Kenny first went down. When Kenny first went down, they made sure Shedeur didn't get no first rep. Now that was the tone setter. I didn't realize that, and I tried to give it a little leeway, but Kevin ain't studying Shedeur right now. He's not studying Shedeur.
You'd think the Browns would crave stability for once, but stability doesn't sell. Drama does. Drama distracts. Drama keeps the group chats buzzing long after practice ends. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is the lightning rod. This is Cleveland, home to fans starving for something that feels like magic, and a franchise that hasn't had consistent quarterback play since rotary phones. Shedeur represents more than potential. He represents possibility. That's why this spiraled so fast. He's not just the rookie in the room. He's already been cast as the future. Logic gets stuffed in the locker with the dirty laundry. Rational thought doesn't trend online, but quarterback controversies do. And that's exactly what Stefanski's facing. It doesn't matter that Shedeur hasn't faced NFL speed yet. It doesn't matter that patience could actually help him thrive.
Usual play calling when Shedeur is playing. Then I'm thinking he has to get a chance to run this 2-minute drill. He has to get fair play calling, and they have to call plays correctly in this 2-minute drill. There's no way sabotage this 2-minute drill. Then boom, he's snatched out of the game. What logical reason can Kevin Stefanski have for snatching Shedeur Sanders out of the game for the 2-minute drill to put a young man they just signed from off the streets into the 2-minute drill that you 9 times out of 10 probably don't have any chance of him making the team? I was also waiting to see how Dylan Gabriel respond coming back from halftime, but he was snatched and Shedeur was put in with the bogus players.
His perception has become reality, and reality is buckling under the weight of expectation. The Browns didn't need help creating tension. They've perfected that art over decades of heartbreak. But the arrival of Shedeur Sanders has launched a new saga. A rookie's aura outweighing his experience, and a coach's control slipping through his fingers. And honestly, it's not surprising. NFL locker rooms are fragile ecosystems. Grown men trapped together through meetings, film sessions, and flights until someone cracks. Shedeur is sitting pretty on the bench while fans outside are foaming at the mouth, waiting to see him throw his first NFL pass. The funny part? Most veterans couldn't care less about the internet. Half don't even know how to reset a Wi-Fi router. Yet here they are, acting like teenagers, scrolling through reels and YouTube highlights of Shedeur torching college defenses.
Things that Kevin Stefanski is saying and the way he's going about things, some things are just not adding up. And Ryan Clark of ESPN basically exposed Kevin Stefanski this morning on Get Up. He had a very interesting take on Kevin Stefanski's motive. Also, this is all surrounded around naming Joe Flacco QB1 for opening day against Cincinnati. Well, that came to no surprise. Now the big question is, who is your QB?
They're watching slow-motion clips of him launching 40-yard lasers, flexing on cornerbacks, flashing that wristwatch celebration after touchdowns. Once those highlights start circulating through the locker room, you can practically hear the whispers rising. Curiosity spreads fast. Half the team's wondering, why not let the kid take a shot? The problem? This isn't Colorado versus some Pac-12 afterthought anymore. This isn't Shedeur dancing around undersized DBs. This is the NFL, a league full of grown men with mortgages, bad knees, and 40 times that read like cheat codes. Defensive ends here move like Olympic sprinters and hit like refrigerators on wheels. But players see the energy, feel the buzz, and start believing maybe, just maybe this untested rookie could be the spark that saves the season. It doesn't matter that the jump from Saturdays to Sundays is like going from karaoke night to headlining Madison Square Garden. In their minds, the story's already written. Shedeur equals spark. Spark equals wins. Wins equal salvation. And that's what makes this whole thing hilarious.
You're a football fan. We clearly know what you did. We clearly know that the plays that you gave for Dylan Gabriel, throwing the check down underneath to make him look good. Same plays for Flacco. Then you throw Shedeur in the game with a tight end whose name ain't even on the roster, and some other players, and then you have them run long routes.
Sanders hasn't even taken a snap, yet somehow he's already split the locker room. Veterans are side-eyeing coaches. Younger players are quietly rallying around him. The atmosphere feels less like an NFL team and more like a reality show with shoulder pads. You can almost picture the confessional segments. Defensive tackles sighing about leadership, wideouts craving excitement, linemen mumbling that the coach just doesn't get it. It's not that they hate Stefanski. It's that hype has a gravitational pull stronger than strategy. Instead of focusing on game plans and execution, distractions are creeping into every corner. Guys are watching Shedeur highlights at breakfast, replaying them in the locker room, whispering about them in the trainer's room. Once that kind of buzz spreads, no amount of team meetings or fiery speeches can shove the genie back in the bottle. Logic still exists on Stefanski's clipboard, but inside the players' heads, the hype already won.
What's happened in preseason? Now, all camp long, there's reports that was surfacing and people in the media talking about the treatment of Shedeur Sanders and also Dylan Gabriel. But we all know it was heavy against Shedeur Sanders, where there's reports out there that they wasn't giving him an opportunity, they wasn't giving him.
And Shedeur Sanders isn't just hype, he's a full-blown marketing campaign. The swagger, the pedigree, the Dayon DNA, it's all there. His aura already feels bigger than the Browns themselves, which, let's be honest, isn't saying much for a franchise that's been a national punchline for decades. This is the same team that drafted Johnny Manziel like he was a movie star instead of a quarterback, then acted shocked when it all burned out faster than a TikTok trend. So, yeah, Stefanski's not throwing another rookie into the fire just to feed the headlines. But players don't think like that. They think, we're not winning enough. That kid might fix it. It's like parking a brand new sports car in your driveway but still commuting in a minivan. Eventually, someone's going to ask, why not take the car out for a spin? And once that question hits the locker room, it spreads fast. Because here's the truth. Locker rooms run on belief. If enough players believe someone can be the spark, even if they're dead wrong, that belief alone can shift the entire energy of a team.
3. Now, guys, if you really know what's going on in football in the quarterback position, sometimes teams don't carry 4 quarterbacks on the roster. So now you got the starting quarterback and you got the backup quarterback, and then the 3rd string and 4th string, they're probably demoted down to the practice squad or even let go. And also, 3rd and 4th string, they don't even dress. It's your backup quarterback that dresses and is on the sideline holding the clipboard, and the rest of them in street clothes.
The Browns' energy feels split right down the middle. Half the roster thinks Stefanski's playing it smart. The other half thinks he's gatekeeping a superstar. And when a coach starts losing the room, the playbook doesn't matter. The season starts unraveling. Shedeur Sanders is the perfect storm. Young, confident, magnetic, already carrying himself like a celebrity. Younger players are drawn to him like moths to a flame. The vets, they're either annoyed by the hype or secretly curious if maybe this kid really is the missing piece. It's a no-win situation, like being asked to choose between pineapple pizza and anchovies. Whatever side you take, someone's yelling, and this isn't the first time an NFL team's fallen into the rookie quarterback hype trap. Remember Tim Tebow in Denver? The locker room split, the fans lost their minds, and eventually the coaches bent to the noise. The difference? Tebow had that miracle playoff win to buy legitimacy. Shedeur hasn't even had a preseason moment yet, but his buzz is already louder. That's how powerful his aura is. Meanwhile, let's not forget Cleveland's history. This team's chewed up and spat out quarterbacks like sunflower seeds.
Stefanski's a hell of a coach. If Stefanski buys in, they buy in together. Stefanski can turn, he's a pocket passer. Stefanski does great with pocket passers. He had Flacco, he had Winston. Them are pocket passers. Watson's not a pocket passer. Stefanski was horrible with Watson. So with Shedeur, if Stefanski put the blinders on and just let the boy cook and be fair about it, it might be a match.
They've gone through more QBs than some people go through phone chargers. Every few years, the same script plays out. A new savior arrives, the hype machine cranks up, and by Thanksgiving, everyone's already arguing about the next savior. Shedeur's just the latest chapter in that endless quarterback carousel, and you can almost feel the players' frustration. They're out there sacrificing their bodies, desperate for a spark, and the guy they think could deliver it is standing there holding a clipboard. To them, that looks like wasted opportunity. To Stefanski, it looks like patience and discipline. Two completely different realities colliding under the same roof. The irony, the Browns are actually in a rare stretch where they don't need chaos. But the outside noise won't quit. Fans are chanting for Shedeur like he's the second coming. Social media's flooded with highlight edits, half made by teenagers who've never even watched a Browns game. The media's eating it up, because nothing sells clicks like a quarterback controversy. And the players? They're human. They see it. They hear it. They feel it. And sooner or later, some of them start to believe it. That's how coaches lose jobs. You can survive bad play calls, even bad seasons. But once players stop believing in you, once they think you're standing in the way of the future, it's over.
If we don't, here it is, Ocho. Here's Kevin Stefanski not letting Shedeur run the 2-minute drill at the end of the game with the Browns. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Kevin, it was obviously a bit of a rough second half for Shedeur and the entire Browns offense, but why didn't you keep him in for the 2-minute drill? Why did you decide to put Tyler in?
Yeah, obviously we didn't play great as an offense in the second half. That's never on one person. So we can be better in a bunch of areas. Just felt like we wanted to.
And Stefanski's definitely feeling that heat. Because even if he's making the right football call, perception shouts louder than reality. And the perception is that he's blocking the rise of Shedeur Sanders. So, what happens next? Does he cave and give the kid a shot? Or does he double down and risk alienating his own team? Neither option's safe. Play Shedeur too soon, and you might break him before he's ready. Wait too long, and you might lose the locker room entirely. It's like juggling knives while blindfolded. You might impress people for a moment, but eventually something sharp's going to drop. That's the Browns in a nutshell. Forever teetering on the edge of competence, only to slip on a banana peel of their own making. Shedeur might be the future, or just another chapter in Cleveland's tragic quarterback saga. Because if history's taught us anything, it's this: the Browns can't just play football, they have to turn it into a soap opera. And this year's storyline practically writes itself: Shedeur Sanders versus Kevin Stefanski. One is the shiny face of hype. The other is the steady hand of discipline. And the locker room? They're stuck in the middle, picking sides like it's a family feud.